Hello and welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a huge problem that's happening right now, mostly out of sight on the open seas. It's about some of the biggest machines humans have ever built and the multi-billion-dollar headache of what to do with them when they retire. We're talking about these massive floating oil platforms, the ones known as FPSOs. I mean, these things are like floating cities that have been pumping oil and gas for decades. They've literally powered our world. But here's the thing, a lot of them are hitting their expiration date. And getting rid of them? Well, that's turning out to be a massive, massive challenge.
So to really get a sense of this scale here, we're going to start our journey in Brazil, which is a huge player in the world of offshore oil and gas.
You know, just like your car, these giant platforms have a limited lifespan. And what's happening right now is that a whole wave of them in Brazil are due to be decommissioned. You can think of it like a giant retirement party, except it's one that's going to cost a fortune, and nobody's really eager to foot the bill. And the price tag is just, wow. We're talking over $1.1 billion. That's the estimated investment just for decommissioning in Brazil from 2022 to 2026. That's just the cost to take these giants apart. But as you're about to see, there's a hidden catch that makes this whole thing way more complicated than just a simple scrap metal job. Yeah, see, the cost isn't the only problem. Lurking inside these steel titans is a hidden danger, and it drastically, and I mean drastically, limits where they can even go to be recycled. The problem has a name, NORM. It stands for Naturally Occurring Radioactive Material. Now, this isn't stuff from a nuclear power plant. This is material that's just naturally there in the Earth's crust, deep down under the ocean. And when companies pull up oil and gas, these radioactive elements get sucked right up along with it. And here's how it happens. For decades, literally decades, as the oil and gas flows through the platform's pipes and tanks, this NORM stuff starts to build up. It slowly forms this concentrated radioactive scale and sludge inside everything. So what started as a piece of industrial machinery has basically turned into a genuine hazardous waste problem. Okay, so you've got a giant, slightly radioactive ship that needs to be taken apart. The obvious question is, where on earth do you take it? And this is where the story turns into a global scavenger hunt, with the number of options getting smaller and smaller.
So let's say you start looking. If you want a facility that's EU-approved and big enough to handle one of these beasts, you find there are only 19 shipyards on the entire planet. 19. Not a huge number to start with, is it?
But now you have to add that one crucial filter. Which of these places can safely handle the NORM contamination? The second you do that, the number just plummets, from 19 all the way down to just 7. I mean, just look at that drop-off. It's kind of crazy, right? You go from an already tiny pool of 19 potential yards to this little handful of 7. All of a sudden, the entire world's capacity for this super specialized, hazardous work is resting on just a few spots. And check this out. There's a huge geographical split. All 7 of those NORM-capable facilities, they're in European Union member states. Meanwhile, Turkey, which is a major hub for ship recycling, with 9 huge yards, has 0 facilities that can handle NORM. So that very specific, very necessary skill is all concentrated in one part of the world. And the funnel, it just keeps getting narrower. Once you factor in all the practical limits, like the water depth at the shipyard or the sheer weight of the vessel, the number of places that are actually viable for Brazil's retiring fleet drops again, down to just 3. 3 in the entire world. So this extreme scarcity creates a pretty massive real-world problem. You've got a whole wave of these platforms needing to retire, and only 3 places in the world they can possibly go. You know what that means? A global traffic jam. This timeline really lays it all out. It shows a potential schedule for just the Brazilian platforms that are waiting in line. I mean, look at how these few ships completely book out the world's 3 viable facilities for years on end. The Mars facility in Denmark? It's theoretically booked solid from 2024 straight through to 2029. Looking at it this way makes that bottleneck crystal clear. Between 2026 and 2027, every single slot is taken. There's no room at the end. Based on this projection, the next time a new FPSO could even start the process isn't until 2028. And don't forget, this is mostly just the demand from one single country. So what happens when you have a retired, multi-ton radioactive platform and absolutely nowhere to take it? Well, you have to park it. And that waiting game, it comes with a ridiculously high price tag. $18,082.68. Let that sink in for a second. And get this, that's not the total.
That is the cost for a single day. This number actually comes from a real-world tender in Brazil. It's the daily fee just for berthing, so docking, basic utilities, waste management, for a ship that is just sitting there, idle, waiting for a recycling spot to finally open up. Now multiply that by months or even years, and you start to see how these costs just spiral into a financial black hole.
And this all brings us to the final, really crucial part of this whole story. That daily parking fee is just the most obvious cost. It's really the tip of the iceberg of a much bigger, unseen cleanup bill that has some really far-reaching consequences.
You see, the risks of these delays just cascade. Financially, you've got the parking fees, sure, but also regulatory fines and soaring insurance premiums. Environmentally, an aging, idle platform is just a spill waiting to happen. For the companies, it's a reputational nightmare. And for the crews who have to actually manage these aging ghost ships, it's a huge safety risk.
The research this explainer is based on puts it pretty bluntly. It says this limitation, quote, exposes ship owners to significant financial risks while awaiting availability windows for decontamination and recycling. I mean, they're basically caught between a rock and a hard place.
And all of this leaves us with one final, very big question. Because this isn't just about oil platforms, right? It's about the entire global energy infrastructure that has powered our modern world. As all of it starts to age out and needs to be retired, we have to ask, who's ultimately going to pay the final cleanup bill?